Okay, 2 p.m. Let's get started. A warm welcome. Warm welcome to all the participants of this fifth EU4Ocean webinar focused on the role of ocean literacy in EU business, organized by the EurOcean, which is a founding member of the EU4Ocean coalition. And here, a big thanks goes to you, Sarah Garnichon from EU4Ocean, who organized and set up this panel today. The EU4Ocean coalition connects diverse organizations, projects, and people that contribute to the ocean literacy and the sustainable management of the ocean. If every one of you, all the participants here, want to learn more about it or even want to join the platform, you can do it by scanning the QR code that you can see here in the shared screen, and you find out further details. Dear participants, I'm pleased to be your host today. My name is Cornelius Eich. I'm responsible for the partnership program and the sustainability campaign of the professional offshore racing sailing team Malizia, the team of the German skipper Boris Herrmann. And I'm also a board member of the German committee of the Ocean Decade. Before we get started, I would like to remind everyone about the housekeeping rules of this panel. In terms of the agenda, we will have a 45 minutes of a debate with our panelists, which I'm going to introduce in a second. Afterwards, we will hopefully we'll have time for a couple of questions from the floor, from the audience. 10-15 minutes. Please write your message into the chat, address it to a specific person on the panel, or make it to everyone. That means a general question. This session is also recorded. It will be uploaded on the EU4Ocean YouTube channel. And with that, I would like to kick it off with this very specific topic that we have at this fifth edition. As I said, ocean literacy meets EU business. Today, we want to shed light on the specific aspects of the maritime sports sector, and in particular sailing sports, and how the water recreation and tourism sector in Europe and across Europe can play a positive role in transporting and fostering a healthy and sustainable relationship between humanity, European citizens, and our oceans, plus creating growth in the European economy and blue innovation and beyond. Here are some interesting facts, some numbers to locate a bit the sports and the recreational sector in Europe. So today, approximately 9.5 million pleasure boats were registered across Europe. Over 6 million boats are kept in European waters, with 10,000 marinas, yachting marinas, providing over 1 million berths, both inland and in coastal areas. Coastal and maritime business is the largest sector in the EU blue economy in terms of gross value added and employment. The coastal and maritime tourism employed almost 3.2 million people across Europe, generating a total of 183 billion, representing over 1/3 of the maritime economy. Europe offers the perfect environment for the 48 million European citizens who regularly participate in recreational maritime activities. Looking at the sailing sports, coming from a sailing team myself in particular, Europe is home and birthplace of the most iconic sailing races and sailing festivals in the world, such as Cowes Week, Kiel Week, Les Voiles de Saint-Tropez, the Rolex Fastnet race, obviously the Vendée Globe, which was just finished by my boss Boris Herrmann within 80 days, Les Vendée Arctique, Transat Jacques Vabre, or the iconic ocean race Europe and the ocean race around the world. And we will hear from that particular race later on. Dear participants, it is clear for me and maybe also for you why the color of Europe, and specifically the color of the European flag, is blue. In this session, we want to bring together different sectors and representatives of the maritime sports and recreational scene of Europe and literally dive into a debate of how we can better connect and link ocean literacy with European citizens and European businesses and vice versa. I'm pleased to welcome our distinguished speakers and guests on this panel. Please welcome with me Lucy Hunt. Lucy is a marine biologist and ocean impact director of the Ocean Race. She has worked in ocean literacy for 20 years and is currently driving the core ocean literacy programs of the race, such as summits, learning, science, and partnerships with purpose to help improve our relationship with the ocean and create the positive action for the ocean by using the race unique sporting platform. Next, we have Stefan Raimund. Stefan is the ocean science advisor at the Ocean Race. During multiple oceanographic expeditions, he studied climate active trace gases in the ocean. He has been working at the interface between science and industry since 2015, initially for the German SME Subsitech. He had been in charge of the Sailing Meets Science program and coordinated activities between the scientific community, the sailors, the media, and the industry. In 2022, he took on the position of Ocean Science Advisor for the Ocean Race. Next, we have Frank Schweikert. He's founder and chairman of the German Foundation, Ocean Foundation, and member of the EU Mission Board. As a specialist in marine and sustainability communication, Frank's work on the Aldebaran marine research and broadcasting vessel since 1992 and the German Foundation since he established it in 2015, unites ocean research, science, literacy, and policy with a seat on the newly created EU Mission Board for the Ocean. Frank will discuss how he continues to push for a sustainable marine policy now on both national and international levels. Last but not least, we have Philip Easthill with us. He is the Secretary General of the European Boating Industry, EBI, which represents the European recreational boating and nautical tourism industry. The mission of the association is to advance and represent a sustainable boating and nautical tourism industry. Key topics that EBI is working on are sustainability, circular economy, tourism, taxation, qualifications, access to finance, international trade, and ocean literacy, obviously. He has been in the position since September 2019 with an academic background in politics and business management. He is also a sailor and worked as a skipper and sailing instructor. A warm welcome to every one of you. Thank you for having you here on the floor. Before we start, I have a very simple question to you, and please give me a short answer. What was your most inspiring ocean moment in the past year? Please give a short answer. And we start with Lucy. Who just left?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to unmute the usual Zoom and Teams. Sorry. So my most in the last year in 2023, May, June, I come from Southwest Ireland, and we have some of the best marine encounters there with wildlife. And we came across about 6 basking sharks, and they were swimming around us with their mouths wide open and just scooping up the plankton off the southwest coast of Ireland. So yeah, it was amazing. We were in the water with them, getting some photography and videography as well, and seeing, you know, what sex they were, and just understanding why they were there. They come every year around that time, but to see them 10-12 meter beasts, you know, in the water, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Great, fantastic moment. Next, Frank, what was your ocean moment last year?
Oh, I don't have any specific moment, because always when I'm close to the ocean, right now, I'm in Niendorf in the Baltic Sea area. I feel very comfortable. I feel connected to the earth. I feel connected to myself, and I appreciate to be a sailor on the surface of the ocean all the time. And I also appreciate much to dive under the water and see these most beautiful creatures and how beautiful and how in silence and how in freedom they live.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Philip, what was your ocean moment in 2024?
That's a great question. I can't beat what Lucy said, so I won't even try. But I mean, I have it's maybe an easy one, but I have a son who's 4.5, and every time, which is not so often, but I do try and get out on the water with him wherever it could be, and that's always a very nice ocean moment, I would say.
Okay.
Great. Stefan, last.
Yeah, it's difficult to say because I live here in Brittany at a very unique coastal area. But I would say last year, a magical moment was when I was sailing with a friend from Sweden to Kiel, and sailing also during the night. And I saw Nautical. That's this small algae illuminating the water. So it was really impressive to sail in really calm conditions and see this lights coming up below the boat.
Yeah, great moment. Yeah, and I have to say, my ocean moment was in February last year when we were all in Kiel and announced that Kiel will be the start of the next Ocean Race Europe. And this was a great moment, not only because Kiel is such a sailing city, we call it the capital here in Germany, the capital of sailing. But it will be also a fantastic moment to see the boats kicking off, going out from the further from the bay and sailing around the European coastlines for almost 2 months. And that brings me actually to you, Lucy, to you as the first question, because you are the Ocean Impact Director of the Ocean Race. And can you maybe tell the audience what is actually the Ocean Race? And these races are so unique, and how do they transport? How are you involved in transporting ocean literacy across Europe and the globe with these iconic races?
Yeah, thanks very much, Cornelius. And so the Ocean Race has been a round the world sailing race, quite an extreme sailing race that can last from 6 to 9 months. It started in 1973, and now we have a new suite of races. So Cornelius mentioned that we have the Ocean Race Europe coming up. It's the second one. So this year, from August to September, there'll be boats racing around Europe, and then we'll have other races. But what we really do with the race, we've been using it as a platform for science for a number of years, which you'll hear a bit more from Stefan, but we use it as a platform for ocean literacy. And here you see on the slide, we really bring the spirit of ocean racing to the race for the ocean. So when it comes to racing for our planet, racing for the ocean, we know we need all these traits that come with a winning team. So like teamwork, learning, diversity, all of these different things. We always need hope when we're talking about the planet as well. So we use all of this when we are talking about ocean action and different ocean action. But just to say that we have a number of different races now. It's not just the around the world race like in 1973 and the 2023 race. We have the Ocean Race Europe coming up in 2025, the Ocean Race Atlantic from New York to Barcelona in 2026, and then in 2027 again we'll have a round the world race. And in between we're like making sure that the voice of the ocean is heard at different congresses, that the ocean and climate nexus is really talked about when we're at COP, making sure that we keep bringing the visibility of the ocean up. So we have a number of different programs that you'll hear about today that are helping ocean literacy. And it's really about using our sports platform for ocean literacy through these different programs from all different age groups, all different stakeholders, from partners to government, young people from primary school to university as well. So the race itself then is used as an awareness platform, but it's one of the most extreme races in the world, and it's often thought of as the pinnacle of a professional sailor's career as well, to win the ocean race. So we get some amazing sailors and amazing ocean experiences coming off the boats and when they're on the boats as well, that I'm sure, Cornelius, you've heard plenty about too. So that's a really snapshot of the ocean race and what we're doing around ocean literacy. And we can dive a bit more and maybe in the other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing picture of the Holcim team. Seeing all the water gushing over the deck. I think it's an amazing experience to be part of this, and also as a spectator to see the boats, and also technology, I think, also kicked in and makes it possible really to track the teams around the world, to have all the media and content actually is delivered from the boat. So really they take you to the ocean. I can really recommend to have a look and check out the website, and obviously to come to one of the stopovers that are this year for the Ocean Race Europe. That brings me actually to one of your colleagues. Lucy, thank you. I would like to hand over to Stefan. Stefan, your role is the Ocean Science Advisor. Why does the Ocean Race organization need a science advisor? What is this science interlink with racing and offshore racing, obviously? Why do they need that, and what is your role?
Yeah, thank you. So the Ocean Race operates at the intersection of sports science and sustainability. As the Ocean Race Science Advisor, my role is simply to make sure that we get the data from this remote, often undersampled regions of the ocean, while also leveraging the global platform of the race to promote awareness of ocean health. And why is this critical? So, as mentioned, first thing is we want to collect data in remote areas. So we operate a fleet of racing boats equipped with science equipment, with different sensors, with different machines, which collects also samples. Then the role is also to integrate the science into sport. So it's a little bit challenging to make sure that the science program itself does not interfere with the sports events. There's constraints like the weight of the instruments, the power consumptions, and also we need to ask the sailors to interact from time to time with the instrument. So we need to make sure that they understand how this works. And also we have a long-term vision with the science program. We integrated our program into global efforts like the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. Yeah, that's in a nutshell your question.
Mm-hmm. One follow-up question to that. Since when does this this cooperation between, you know, this high-end professional sailing teams and the science community, when did that start? And is there any, do you see any future development, or where is your goal with that? Do you want to also bring these instruments to collect this apparently very important data to to science and to the scientific reporting? Do you want to bring this also to more the recreational boating community? Like me as a boat owner, can I have one of these devices because I would like to contribute to this? Is this possible in the future? Or if not, why is it not possible?
First question, do you see my screen? Not sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So here you see a short history of sailing and science. This answers the first part of the questions. So in 2001, some scientists came to the former edition of the ocean race called the Volvo Ocean Race and asked if they can install basic science equipment. And at this time, there was no real science program in place, but this was the first time scientists and sailors worked together. And the real ocean race science program started then in, I would say, 2016-17 for the 2017 edition of the Ocean Race, where for the first time science equipment had been installed on multiple boats, and this gave lots of attention, and other sailing enthusiasts, or let's say ocean enthusiasts, like Boris Herrmann, like your boss from Malizia, saw what happens during the Volvo Ocean Race and said, okay, I need something similar, an instrument similar like the one which had been deployed during the Volvo Ocean Race. And then more IMOCA sailors came on board and installed science equipment. And 2023, for the last edition of the Around the World Ocean Race, for the first time, all boats had been equipped with science equipment. And those instruments, they need to be lightweight, very robust, and have a low power consumption. And they're specially designed for those operations. To give you an idea, the same instrument on a research vessel has typically a size of a fridge and a weight of a couple of 100 kilograms. Well, here we have, I would say, 5 shoe boxes from the size dimension and less than 20 kilos. So it's a challenge which comes also with a price tag. And this explains or answers your second questions. Those instruments are not made for the broader public. You need a little bit of money to purchase those instruments, and for a typical leisure sailor, this makes no sense to have this high, very costly instrument. But there are some really interesting projects around. One is called SOUP, Shaping an Ocean of Opportunities. And in the frame of the SOUP program, instruments are developed which can be deployed on smaller sailboats, and which will be also much more cost effective.
Very interesting. Turning from the offshore professional teams to the more, let's say, broader recreational boating market, and I'm very happy that you made yourself available, Philip. Coming back from the biggest boat show, the biggest boat fair in the world, Boat Düsseldorf, end of January, where all the big innovation highlights has been probably showcased. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience there? Is there any trend in the markets that are related to environmental protection, to maybe also just what Stefan said, to data collection, sailing with purpose, let's put it that way? Is there anything that you can witness in the market? Also, when you talk to your members, is there any, inspiration maybe coming from the professional offshore sailing scene to the more broader, normal consumer market?
Well, that's a pretty big question to unpack, Cornelius. But let me start by linking to what Stefan said. So, for example, things like SOUP and many other initiatives like that are really great. And I think there's a connection here also not just between sailing racing, competitive sailing, and ocean science, but also the wider industry. Just yesterday, we had a meeting here with an organization called JPI Oceans, which is the collection of national ocean science research institutes and ministries. And we're working together to get, for example, marinas, so leisure port harbors, to install some of these boxes as well, and to be part of the ocean science, to be really a partner for ocean science. And we can think about extending that to a very wide participation to get people involved. People like to know more about how they sail, and maybe using that same data to also help ocean science get better data in those areas where it doesn't exist yet. I think is a really good idea. And you mentioned earlier the numbers about how many leisure boats we have in Europe. If we get 0.5% of those equipped with these sensors, I think ocean scientists would really be very happy and have a good use of that data. In terms of what is happening in the industry and what's maybe coming from the competitive sailing, when we were at Boat Düsseldorf and other boat shows, we can see that there's a lot happening in very different fields, from let's say obviously the propulsion technology, from hybrid technology, electric, even hydrogen for very large leisure boats, but also the fuels we use. Increasingly, engines are certified for new types of fuels as well, which are more sustainable, but also in terms of the materials that we use on the boats, in terms of the composite we use, there's a hell of a lot happening. But also in terms of how we improve the efficiency of our boats, and that's maybe the link towards the competitive sailing, which is about the foiling, which of course your boss Cornelius has made good use of, and that is also, obviously quite expensive for the time being for the larger leisure boat market, but something that's definitely one of the future trends to watch. And so there's a lot happening. That's a big story, which is great news. But I think, and this is what our role is, to help the yards building the leisure boats to understand, and the suppliers and everyone to understand what is the right technology, the right material to use. Where do we make a real impact? And what we are looking at is life cycle assessment. So to make a comprehensive analysis of what is the impact of a leisure boat, and how can we thereby, through eco-design, identify the environmental hotspots and reduce them. And this is important not just to actually tackle the environmental hotspots, but because the companies that we're talking about here are, in the biggest scheme of things, not very big companies. So they also have limited investment, limited R&D capacities. So we need to help them to focus on where, in a very cost-efficient manner, without substantially raising the price of the product, the end product, the boat, they can make environmental gains and improve environmental performance. So this is the ethos we're trying to establish, and not just by talking about it, but by doing real things. So we've started with 17 of the largest boat manufacturers in Europe and our member associations to develop a methodology for life cycle assessment. We're now expanding this work to a global level with our American and international counterpart associations, so that we have eventually a real global methodology and a tool that yards can use to make that life cycle assessment. Because in our opinion, it's really comes down to this point about making environmental improvements where it's actually possible to make environmental improvements, but by making these incremental gains over the next years and decades, we can come to the target we all need to achieve on sustainability.
And where do you see, may I follow up here? Where do you see the, let's say, the business benefits from deriving from ocean literacy? Is ocean literacy a topic that you address also through through your industry association, through the members that you have? Is this a topic, or do you really concentrate on standards for recycling, to also, of course, compliance to the Green Deal? Now we're going to talk in a second about the Ocean Pact. Is this something that you also take care of in the industry?
Yes, of course. I mean, my personal observation is that I'm not a big fan of this term ocean literacy. It doesn't sound super positive to me. I recently learned that in Spanish, which is a language I don't speak, they use educación azul, so sort of blue education, which seems a bit more of an accessible and easy to understand term. But that's just a personal observation. But I mean, the benefit for the industry from people understanding the ocean, being interested in the ocean, is two ways primarily. One is to actually get these people on the water, which is what we can facilitate, and thereby give them a lot of benefits, from mental health benefits to physical benefits, and just a very good time in an awesome environment. But also, the more people are sort of aware of the ocean, or ocean literate, to use that word, they can also become more interested in working in our industry. And obviously, like all industries, we have a skills challenge and an employment challenge to get more people into industry with the right skill set. So by having more ocean literate people, I think we can benefit as an industry as well.
Okay. All right, Frank, you were nodding when Philip said he doesn't like the word ocean literacy. Can you explain why did you not? What is your trouble with ocean literacy?
Yeah, I agree that the word is much too complicated and doesn't screen like what you said with the blue plants or whatever you can mention it, because it's joy, it's fun, it's more than complicated literacy things. So there are many things going on. And on the first Ocean Decade conference in Barcelona, all people agreed that beside these 7 goals of the Ocean Decade, ocean literacy, so ocean communication, is the most important thing. So I'm very happy to be here today in this webinar.
Yeah, that brings me to the second question to you, Frank, because you're a great communicator. You built up the German Ocean Foundation, and recently you have been appointed to the European Mission Board for the ocean. Can you give the audience, can you give us a bit of insights? What is this mission board? What's the task of the mission board? What is your personal drive within this mission board? And maybe you can also take a little bit of a round shot of what you would like to achieve in the next, well, for this mandate of the mission board.
Yeah, thank you, Cornelius. I think we need to improve our relation to the ocean in general. And I think we need the so-called ocean literacy to do it. And we need all the water sport, society, industry to help with this. And I'm very happy to be in the EU Mission Board for Restoration of our ocean and waters. And this is a kind of think tank to think about how to protect and restore marine and freshwater ecosystems. So first of all, we need to talk about restoration, because we not only have the UN Decade for Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, we also have the Decade for Ecosystem Restoration, and we sadly destroyed a lot of this environment also in the marine environment, which we cannot see because it's below the surface, below the waves. And so this is one of the first aims, to find solutions for reversing biodiversity loss and resilience of aquatic habitats. Second is for sure to do this to prevent and reduce pollution in general. And it doesn't mean only the plastic waste. We can see it means also the chemical pollution and also the nutrient pollution. So, for example, from the agriculture, still a lot of pollution is going into the ocean. And before we think about restoration, we need to stop the pollution. Then what Philip already mentioned is the sustainable blue economy. So because our world surface, 2/3 of the world's surface is blue and not green or other colors. So this is the biggest reservoir we can develop, and we can find environmentally friendly economic activities, because we will need, and for example, if you want to feed the world's future and all the people on this planet, we will need algae. We will need algae for making fuel, for further mobility, etc. And then climate resilience is also on the topic of the mission board, so enhancing the role of ocean and waters in climate adaptation. So we know that ocean play a very big role, but we did not understand a lot. And for sure, for example, to add this in terms of biodiversity, we only know 10% of the species in the ocean. So we have to learn about this. And last but not least, we need more citizens' engagement and governance. So it does not only mean to have, for example, citizen science like in the Ocean Race, or what we do from the German Ocean Foundation with Scuba Schools International to collect data from divers and put them to a EMODNet, which is the biggest database of the European Commission beside Copernicus. So there's a lot of things to do, and I'm very happy that we give speed into this process, because if we in Europe united will do something good for this planet, it will be in the ocean. We need to do, and we have to do it.
Great words. If you say united, would you, is that when you look into this mission board, this is like a consortium of the member state of the European Union, like dedicated experts that are, you said think tank, that are working on clear policy recommendations to the European Commission? Or is this really like a production of knowledge and like a network to basically link science with the citizens? Or how does it, what's the mechanism behind it?
To be honest, I know a lot of the insights of the Commission now, because I had a lot of talks, and it's amazing how much knowledge we already have in the Commission, and we need to succeed. We need to put this knowledge into action, and this is very, very important. And we have 5 mission boards in the European Commission, and Ocean and Waters is one of this. And so I mentioned that we need to link to each other these missions, And this is also my task, because we cannot make a restoration of the ocean if we don't stop the pollution from land side, from the big cities, etc. I think it's a very important task, and I want also to make it simple, because if we want to achieve a simple policy, we have to explain it in a simple way. So many things in the European in Europe is too difficult, because we go down, deep. And I'm a biologist, and I want to bring it down to the natural life cycles, because our planet lived and worked since millions of years without waste and enough energy, and everything was happy. Every plant and every animal was happy, and then we humans came and we squeezed out of these natural cycles. And I try to find a solution, a simple solution for ocean policy and also for other policies for Europe, because I think this could be our strength in comparison to other continents.
Thank you. So now we are, thank you, first of all, thank you for the great interventions, for your statements. Looking at the time, we still have 20 minutes to go. I would like to still open up the floor for questions from the audience. I think there's a lot of topics to discuss or to ask, so please feel free to type your questions into the chat, and we are going to take it from there. One question maybe in the meantime to you, Lucy, because you mentioned the Ocean Race Europe. The slogan, to my knowledge, is connecting Europe, right?
Yeah.
What's behind that? Is that like a bigger program that you say, hey, we as a Europeans in these very difficult geopolitical times, for example, that we need to have a sporting event that is really like bringing us together again, like a united Europe kind of approach, or what is behind that?
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a few different things, but connecting Europe really, like our grand finale is Montenegro, which we know is, up and coming into the EU. So we have that area, but also it's the ocean. The ocean connects us all. So our route around the Ocean Race Europe is connecting Europe. And also another very strong message that we'll be relating through the Ocean Race Europe is the EU mission Ocean and Waters and what they're doing, and sharing their messaging as well, which is very important, around protection, around blue economy. So a lot of the things that Frank was talking about there, we'll be doing throughout the race, engaging citizens through our ocean life parks, which is like a festival of the sea in each of our host cities. So the host cities, Cornelius, you mentioned there, we've got Kiel, we're going to be in Portsmouth, we'll be doing a flyby in Porto in Portugal, Cartagena in Spain we'll be visiting, and then Genova, Italy, and we'll be having the finale then in Montenegro and in Baca Bay. And with all of these different host cities, we'll be working on ocean health initiatives, where the EU mission Ocean might have some projects there already. We'll be highlighting them. We have a summit happening in Kiel, where we'll be sharing solutions and seeing what sort of actions the local government will be doing around the ocean as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different dimensions, and with the connecting Europe, it's connecting Europe around the ocean, very much so. And because sports is non-politicized, especially our sailing race is non-politicized, we can bring in many different stakeholders that can actually drive action for the ocean and accelerate action. We're talking about acceleration of action. And I think we see that a lot through the race. When we bring all these different stakeholders together, the action for the ocean is catalyzed, so we sometimes say that the race is like a catalyst for ocean action.
Thank you, Lucy. So I see like a first common question. I'm going to read it. There is a lot of, from Petra Rona, thank you. There's a lot of info about the ocean. I like to focus on creating the awareness. Can I use the info from the Ocean Race that you have for education? And is there another source that you would recommend? I think that goes to Lucy.
Yeah, most definitely. So we have a website, learning.theoceanrace.com, and there are many resources there that anyone can sign up to and use. And that's exactly what we want people to do, is share them and use them with their community, whether it's a school, a youth group, a university. So we have resources for 6 to 16-year-olds. And you can also scaffold some of that learning as well. So please do use our resources and share them widely. And then we also have a knowledge center. If you're working specifically in sustainability and sustainable events, you can sign up to our knowledge center, where there's fantastic resources about how you can be a sustainable event or how you maximize sustainability within your business or industry. So there's some really good resources that have been developed over the last periods of the race. So I think definitely sign up and log in. And, you know, there's even an expression of interest out at the moment for organizations to maybe activate at the Ocean Life parks. So if you go on our LinkedIn, you'll be able to see how you can get involved there as well.
Thank you, Lucy. And also, like, speaking on education, Team Malizia specifically has developed a My Ocean Challenge education program that is targeting the kids in the age between 8 and 14. And we have lots of material on our website in different 12 different languages, education material, and YouTube channels and series about protecting coastline, mangroves, corals, lots of insights about the knowledge. So Team Malizia is more than just a racing team. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Peter, for the comment. I see another one from Laura Meyer. Hi, Laura. Nice to have you with us. Thank you. I'm quoting you. Thank you all for your insightful contributions. I have a general question for anyone who would like to respond in discussion about ocean literacy or education, Educación Azul. Muchas gracias. Which key stakeholders group do you think is currently missing or underrepresented? Which sector should be more involved to enhance the impact? Is there anyone here on the panel who would like to go first?
Yeah, I think everyone is missing because we are too far away from the oceans at the moment, especially we in Germany. So, for example, France is a country, they have a lot of press activities and TV activities for the ocean. But I think the society is the first goal we need to grab, because if we don't love the ocean, if the ocean is not in the society, we cannot create industry, we cannot create other things. So I think we need to have a campaign, and related to the last question, I think we also have to, we should we should collect all this education stuff material on the European level and share it, because it makes no sense to reinvent the wheel from everyone. So I think we should give our power to share the information, because we already have a lot of information, put all our logos on and make a campaign, the European campaign.
I think it's a great answer, and I would like to add something, like an additional question, and like specifying it, because we are talking about EU business specifically. And do you think, you guys, that we have the Green Deal? Obviously, we have a lot of targeted measures also from policy to boost the market in climate action. But not so much, I think, in the blue economy. Do you think that is industry, in terms of industry investments and blue invest for solutions that are actually coming from the ocean, is this a sector that where we need more involvement? For example, Philip, you also know the Brussels bubble very well. And back then I was quite interested in ocean energy. So, taking power from for example, tidal power plants, but there is a lot of just pilots, there is not a market, it's just pilots. Do you think that we need a bit more also big investor involvement, venture capital probably, to bring these kind of industry sector in? I'm not sure whether this is so much related to ocean literacy, more like a question probably about policy and investments. But what is your opinion about that? Do you think that this kind of business view is missing?
Well, you sort of mentioned me there, so I can start. And you and I, Cornelius, both come from a Brussels bubble, so we can talk about this well. But I think it's a general point. I mean, also now the European Commission rightly is focusing more on competitiveness while keeping also the Green Deal and all of this together. And they want to develop what they call the European Oceans Pact. And all of this investment is really, really, really key. I mean, it's a general point, but in Europe, we just don't have enough public and especially private investment into almost any industry, and definitely also into a blue economy. We have to make sure that investment goes in the right direction, of course, towards clean solutions, sustainable solutions. But I think now we have somehow a unique opportunity to race ahead in this sort of sustainability challenge, also while other international competitors, I guess, are sleeping, not focusing on sustainability, to really move ahead and in Europe build a really interesting industry based on blue economy, based on sustainability and clean solutions. So I think that's a ideal opportunity now to invest in this direction, and in the same way think about ocean literacy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Philip. Speaking about the Brussels expert, so that was a perfect answer. For Lucy and Stefan, I'm quoting Sarah here. How would you assess the level of ocean literacy among the companies sponsoring the ocean race? Do they support the event primarily due to a genuine commitment to the ocean sustainability, or is their involvement driven mainly by the visibility and return on investment? Very good question. I'm not sure who wants to start. Lucy, maybe?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good and relevant question. And so for us with the ocean race, all of our partnerships are based on purpose. So we have our Racing with Purpose program. And then when we collaborate with a partner, it's based around purpose. So trying to maximize the ocean literacy effort, trying to bring in funds to do new innovative science. So that, like, for the race, it is all about like ocean health and and promoting ocean health and ocean action. So when we bring in partners, and one very good example of that is Volvo, and last year Volvo cars or actually it was in 2023 now that we're in 25. Volvo cars announced at our summit at the United Nations General Assembly that that they were joining the moratorium against deep sea mining. And in our new round of partnerships, we've joined with Volvo cars on a whole coastal restoration project. So working together with them around coastal restoration. So that's just one example. There's other ones around restoration of coral reefs. And all of our partners have been involved in another area around Race to Restore. So looking at blue carbon and nature-based solutions, all looking to minimize footprint and then see where we can look at helping the ocean as well. So that's from the ocean race point of view. The people that we're now working with are very interested in how they can maximize their action and support our programs, and then like minimizing footprint as well obviously is very important. But so we're seeing more and more of that, more interest in the ocean area for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think that that's a perfect answer, and for good reason. They call you the impact director, so you're really impact driven, and I think this is a quite an important point to make. If it comes to this offshore racing as a platform, and obviously it's an expensive sport and it has to be financed somehow by important bigger companies, corporate money. But more and more, and this is what I witness also from Team Malizia side, that there's a more and more growing interest actually in blue solutions and seeing the ocean as an opportunity, as a solution, obviously in a solution ocean, where also technology can grow and innovation is happening. And I mean, we had already heard some figures that the ocean is responsible, for example, to absorb over a third of our CO2 emissions, or over 90% of the excess heat, so the heat that is trapped in our atmosphere. So they play a huge role in solving the climate crisis. And I think more and more companies, at least to my knowledge and from the scope I can speak on behalf of Team Malizia, has a growing interest in finding these solutions. So thank you, Lucy. And maybe Stefan, you would like to add something, as this was also addressed to you?
No, I would say Lucy covered it very well. Since we're short on time. Okay. Next question.
Next question. Thank you, David, for putting the comment in here that you're an angel investor in the blue tech with Blue Angels. Sounds quite promising. So I will have a look. Thank you for sharing that link. Your email address I see here. Then we have a next question from Petra again, Peter Rona. Can we connect the North Sea and other seas to the ocean in our comms? So the relationship is obvious. And regarding other sectors, the trend in tourism and fitness is also blue tourism and sports and nature. Is that also connected at EU level via Europe Active, for instance, for coastal fitness and wellness? I think this goes to Philip mainly, this question.
Well, here, at least in Brussels, I've seen it a few times, and in France, you see it a lot. If you look at the gutters in the road, we have this little sentence, La mer commence ici, the ocean starts here, which I think is meant to stop people from throwing their cigarette butts in the water, because it ends up in the sea, which is a good message. But I think that's kind of the message, right? I mean, even those who don't live close to the ocean need to be involved, need to be aware. And if we have to make it as simple and understandable as possible, and maybe it's not even about just the North Sea, but it's about the local lake, the local river, and it's not just about ocean, but water, maybe, to really bring it down to the simple point. So I would agree to that.
Thank you. Next was from Ruth Higgins, a comment made for Petra regarding ocean literacy for business. There is an upcoming webinar in tourism and leisure, so please watch this space for further information. So thank you for sharing that. Also, the link is there. And then we have Bernadette Grabenbauer. Thank you for your question and comment. She just wrote I popped in here because of curiosity. I see that's really interesting. Cool. Thank you for that. I lack public administration as promoter of actual blue transition. There are so little initiatives. Actually, I only know about the quite innovative program of Puertos del Estado, Ports 4.0, encouraging innovative solutions for harbor logistics. However, ocean health, recovery, sustainability is not a focus on main selection criteria. Ports 4.0, Ports 4.0, trailblazers of public administration for ocean health would be great. I think this also is going into direction to you, Philip. I'm not sure you are aware of Ports 4.0. Sounds fancy, like a digital program for the ports, or is that what you can tell us about that?
I don't know it, but I will have a look at it.
Okay.
I guess that's more for commercial ports rather than leisure ports. But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I think the ports, I mean, the entire ecosystem, right? They play a role in making the boating industry more sustainable. I mean, it starts, you mentioned the life cycle system for boats, but obviously the ports play a big role, the marinas, anchor areas. I think there's a lot of different stakeholders that you also have in your membership. So maybe we'll have a look at this later. Or Bernadette, you have a specific question, then please type again. We have another one coming from Antonio Paulitos. Hi there. The Portuguese West Coast has a tough sea, but is a maritime country, sometimes forgotten. Shouldn't the ocean race have a stop at the northern Portugal to promote Atlantic initiatives? Hey, yeah, there's another ocean race around the world coming up. Maybe that's an opportunity. I'm not sure for the Ocean Race Europe, but Lucy, you're the one to answer that.
Yeah, no, great question. And of course, we want to highlight the amazing Atlantic coast of Portugal. And I think this is the first steps. You know, we've got a flyby. A flyby happened in Kiel last year as well. And now they're the start of the Ocean Race Europe. So in the last race. So, and now they're the start of the Ocean Race Europe. So you never know. And there's always the conversations and the relationship building that happens. So that could happen. Yeah. And I think it would be fantastic to highlight that coast and the amazing life that's happening there. We did have in 2017-18, we had a great stopover in Lisbon, and we had some amazing people working with us there around projects happening on the ground in Portugal too. So it'd be great to get back to Portugal. Love Portugal. Yeah.
And I think maybe to you, Antonio, we need promotion in your country for the ocean race and also for a Portuguese team, maybe in the next years. That would be great. Coming from a sailing nation, right? Thinking about Magalhães, the first sailor around the world, which was Portuguese. Anyway, thank you for that question. Is there another question from the audience? I don't see it. Maybe scrolling down, not so far. Looking at the time, we have 4 more minutes left. And if there's no other question coming from the audience, I see that someone is typing. No, Ricardo has just left. Okay. Then I would like to take the opportunity to thank you guys. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Philip, Stefan, Frank, to make yourself available. Again, thank you to you, Sarah, and your team. I see one last question here coming up. I'm gonna read it. So that will be the last one. Hello, everyone. I'm Reham Fawzi. I'm a researcher from Egypt at agriculture sector, but I take a course at Italy about sustainable development of coastal communities and become inspiring about oceans and sustainability. There I see they put spirit of environmental preservation from every stage through making competition between children by making small ship from recycling materials. And I think we are all on one ship. Aquaculturists, fisheries, tourists, sports, all aim to environmental sustainability and our duty to our planet to save it. It's a very beautiful comment, and I think we all agree. We all nodding here. Thank you, Reham. I think that's more like a statement than a question, because I think we all agree. Thank you so much. I would like to close this this session. Again, thanks all the participants, the speakers. The next webinar will take place in March and will focus on the renewable energy industry. A date will be set by our colleagues from EurOcean, and the details, of course, will be found on the website of the EurOcean and across, of course, all the social media channels. I say thank you very much. And of course, this is a recorded webinar. So if you have missed it, feel free to check out the YouTube channel and have another look. And of course, get in touch with us and hopefully see you in one of the stopovers for the ocean race. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Cornelius. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Sarah. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, guys.